KSAP Beats.
All right, welcome to another episode of Wired In with Apavelli. Today is going to be an interesting episode. I've been waiting all week to record this episode. I've been waiting to talk about UWP development. But before I get into that, I want to say that Microsoft Build was really awesome this week. I wish I could have been there. One of my goals, one of my bucket lists is to actually attend Build. So hopefully next year I'll be there. Eventually I'll get to Microsoft Build. Eventually. You know, I feel like eventually I'll get there. But it was cool to interact with other developers that were there, watching the sessions, watching the stories on Instagram. It really was a good weekend. Build was really awesome, and Microsoft, they have a lot of things in store for developers across all stacks: web, mobile, desktop development. And I believe Build answered a lot of questions that crossed our minds as far as desktop development, UWP development. So I was really happy with Build. You know, the first keynote was, mainly talking about stuff on the enterprise, consumers. And then the second keynote is really more so for developers. And I'm always excited to see keynotes that's more focused on, that's more developer oriented because, I'm a developer. But this week has been a week holiday for developers. There's a lot of sessions that I'm going to watch over the weekend. I mean, there are a lot of sessions. I watched a few. I've watched the one building .NET applications with desktop. What is the video called? Let me see what it's building .NET desktop applications with .NET Core Windows 10. And I'm probably going to watch that again. It's one of my favorite sessions. I watched what's the other one? Right now I'm looking at a list of sessions that I've watched. I watched Welcome to the World of Machine Learning with ML.NET. I thought that was a pretty interesting session. I haven't really gotten to machine learning much, but I plan on it, and I'm going to look at the SDK and play around with the code and maybe write me some small ML applications using ML.NET. Another one is the Windows Terminal, building a better command line experience for developers. I thought that's pretty cool. I'm actually looking forward to using the new terminal when it's available. I think it's going to be available in like another Windows update, like in the future, probably by the end of the year. Lessons learned from building Candy Crush. That's a good session. What else did I watch? I know I watched a couple more. Oh, what's new in speech services and how to utilize them to build speech-enabled applications. React Native build rich Windows and mobile applications easily with JavaScript. Now, I'm not really a JavaScript developer, but I'm just curious in, how developers will be able to build applications using React. Another good one is build fast data-driven mobile UI with Xamarin Forms. There's a couple Xamarin sessions I'm going to watch. I'm also going to watch the Java and .NET because I also code in Java. Um, I'm not just a C# developer. I also code in Java. I write a lot of my web applications in Java. I have my own private JVM. I write most of all my Android apps are written in Java because I was using Android Studio long before. Actually, I was using Eclipse to build Android applications. I don't even know if people are still using Eclipse, but to the developers that used Eclipse years ago, it was a pain in the ass. Like, it really was. It was a lot of bugs, but so grateful for Android Studio. And also with Eclipse, you didn't have like a designer, so you couldn't even see a preview of what you were working on. So we've come a long way with that. So I kind of want to watch Java and .NET together at scale, and I think that's more talking about like in the cloud for enterprises, but I'm curious about that. I know another one that's really good that I think people should watch, State of the Union, the Windows presentation platform. Definitely should watch that session. So there are more sessions that I'm going to watch. I mean, there are so many sessions. I know I left out some good ones, but I'm going to spend the weekend just binge watching a lot of sessions. And then I'm also going to watch some of Google I/O sessions as well, as far as pertains to Android development, because I watched the conference as well. And I'm going to talk about Android development probably next week. I'll probably go in a little more detail when I watch Google I/O sessions. I will say that from what I did see, they're really pushing developers to use Kotlin. And I'm going to do an episode talking about, choosing a language and what language might work best for you, the developer. It really doesn't matter what language you use, in my opinion. So I'm going to talk about that. But one of the major talks as of late, probably over the last couple years, is what is Microsoft going to do with the Universal Windows Platform, UWP? Now, over the last couple days, I've come across a lot of articles that are saying UWP is dead, right? So right now I'm on my computer. So if I do a simple search, Microsoft UWP, right? And you go to the news. Okay. Now, the first article, Microsoft wants to close the UWP and Win32 divide with Windows apps. Okay, that's good. There's another article. Microsoft confirms UWP is not the future of Windows apps. But the article before that, Microsoft wants to close the UWP Win32 divide with Windows apps. But then this article is saying Microsoft confirms that UWP is not the future of Windows apps. Are the days of Windows UWP application numbered? That was on May 9th. Future of Microsoft Store, uncertain with UWP dead in the water. The end of UWP apps and Microsoft Store is near. Look at this. Could the death of UWP apps spell the end of the Microsoft Store? It's really discouraging for a lot of Microsoft developers who are really hardcore developers of the platform. And I'm going to refute these claims. UWP is not dead. It's alive and well. And I feel like a lot of these journalists, they like to, they need something to talk about. They need, they got to put out some good content. And also, too, you can't really get mad at them for saying UWP is dead. I mean, it's their opinion. I don't know if these journals are developers or not, but I can safely say a lot of these journalists are probably not really hardcore developers. I don't know if they really understand Universal Windows Platform, but I'm not gonna lie. I had questions about UWP and its future. Um, and let's be clear, Kevin Gallo said that UWP is here to stay. Um, if you watch the session, State of the Union, um, Windows presentation, I think it's called. Yeah, State of the Union, the Windows presentation platform. That and the .NET, building .NET desktop applications. You'll notice that UWP, WinForms, WPF, you pretty much can use them all interchangeably. It doesn't really matter which framework you use to build an application. It's all about what you're trying to accomplish. So, what Microsoft is doing is, since Windows Phone, let's have a moment of silence for Windows Phone. But since Windows Phone is no longer being supported, and the Windows Phone is dead, sorry. And I love Windows Phone. I had a Windows Phone. That was my first actual smartphone. But a lot of developers are like, well, since there's no mobile, UWP is no purpose of developing applications. Now, here's the thing. If you're a desktop developer, UWP might not be the right framework for you at the moment. You might want to look into WinForms or WPF if you're just looking for a rich, powerful desktop application just to run on desktops. If you're looking to run your application on Xbox, mixed reality, PC, tablet, then UWP is the right approach. And the thing is, Microsoft is giving developers more options on how they want to distribute their apps. You don't have to go through the Microsoft store, but it makes sense if you're building a UWP app to go through the Microsoft store. So that way it's more accessible to your customers who will use your app on PC, Xbox, mixed reality, right? Who wants to go through a hassle how are you going to get an app on your Xbox, right? Without going through the Microsoft store. So UWP is alive and well. And I know a lot of developers are really pessimistic about the outlook on UWP, but Microsoft spent so much time, so much money, investing in UWP. I don't see them throwing. I don't see that being thrown away. Now, again, I know recently, I think a couple weeks ago, Microsoft are removing the ability to purchase ebooks, and I think they're offering refunds. They removed the Office. They removed the ability to download Office from the Microsoft Store, and it just redirects you to their site to install it. And people are thinking, well, is this the end of the Microsoft Store? Is this the end of UWP? Not necessarily. Well, maybe the store is also a gateway for you to direct your customers to download and install your app off your site or another hosted service. So it's alive and well. And I'm going to read some quotes from Kevin Gallo. This is an interview with ZDNet. So let me read some of the things that were said. Give me 1 second. I had this highlighted. Okay. By the time we are done, everything will just be called Windows apps. Think about that. Windows apps. So stop thinking about UWP versus WPF versus WinForms. Those are all frameworks that you can choose. You have the option. I know some great UWP applications in the store. There are some great UWP developers that I've interacted with on Twitter. They build some really cool UWP apps. So it's not going anywhere. And UWP is a great framework. It's more modern. And the beautiful thing is, how could UWP be dead if they're allowing legacy desktop applications use some UWP features to modernize their applications. That says a lot about UWP. If you watch build, a lot of the examples were being demonstrated using UWP. So, Gallo added that the company's end goal is to make every platform feature available to every developer. Like I just said, it's all about giving the developers options. Choose whatever you want. So here's another thing about the store. You know, people saying, is this the end of Microsoft Store? The store is about commerce. It's another channel for distribution. So you don't have to, long before the store was around, when you were building desktop applications, we didn't have a Microsoft Store. So now you do have a Microsoft Store. And also with this Microsoft Store, you can actually distribute your legacy apps through the Microsoft Store using the desktop bridge. And you can convert that basically to a UWP app. So why would they kill off UWP? So I challenge all the tech bloggers who are saying UWP is dead. How is UWP dead? What do you think is the end goal for UWP? Is it because of mobile? And the thing is, I think people looked at UWP and just only looked at Windows Phone, because I think we just follow trends of, mobile development. You got to build an Android and iOS application. No, you're a developer. You build an application for whatever device, whatever platform. You can still build innovative desktop applications for consumers. People are still using desktops. People are still using laptops. People are still using tablets. Yeah, we do use our mobile phones mostly for browsing, but to do heavyweight work, people are always using desktops. Also, too, as a developer. So why not build for all the platforms if possible? So if you have an application, build a desktop version, and then scale it, build a mobile version, build an iOS and Android version. And look, you can still use C#, you can use Xamarin. So when you really think about it, it is a universal platform, technically. Because you can build an app for Windows, Android, iOS, Mac, Linux, using the same language. You can build this all on .NET. When you really think about it, Universal Windows Platform, they can almost pretty much say universal platform in general. It looks like Microsoft's goal is to allow every developer to build for any platform using whatever they want, whatever language they want. I mean, look at what's going on with React. I mean, you can build UWP apps in JavaScript, C++. I mean, it's a beautiful thing just to have options. And also to the developers, don't get discouraged when you see these negative tech blog sites. You're a developer. So instead of questioning, well, is UWP a great platform? Well, like they said, don't look at UWP as a platform. It's a framework. Look at it as a framework. Think about the kind of app you want to build. Is UWP the right choice? Is that a right? Do you want to extend your app to be available on other devices? If so, then UWP is a great option. I personally think UWP is an option even if you're just focusing on desktop development, because maybe later on you want to extend that to another device. You want to scale it to another device. So as developers, we got to stop getting discouraged with the pessimism of UWP and really just focus on innovation, building great applications. You know, there are so many options. Yeah, we know the Microsoft Store isn't like Google or an Android. The Google Play Store or the App Store, but there's still room to build a really good application, and you can still make money on the platform. You still can make money. So I just wanted to refute claims that UWP is dead. It can be so discouraging. And a lot of these bloggers, I know they watch Build, so I think they should rethink what they're saying about UWP being dead in the water. It's not dead. It's not dead. If they kill UWP, then that will be the end of Xbox, mixed reality. It will be end of the store, and they're not going to do that. You know how many games are UWP games? I think Gears of War is one of them. I think Sea of Thieves. A lot of developers created UWP games. So if they killed UWP, that would really hurt. So that's it for this episode. I just wanted to kind of go on a little rant and just talk about UWP being alive and well. It's not dead. It's not going anywhere. I'm going to continue developing apps for Windows. I don't even really want to say just for UWP anymore, just for Windows. I'm going to choose to use UWP as the framework to build my Windows application. And to those who are using WinForms and WPF, continue using those. You know, if you're an enterprise and you're just installing desktop software, you're building desktop software for your customers just to install from, a private intranet or through the Microsoft Store. Continue to do that. To the developers, continue using what works for you. Continue innovating. Don't give up. Don't listen to all the pessimism in the world and the news, period, in general. I think that's the problem with the internet is, we see someone that write a blog or they write an article about technology. We think that it's a fact. A lot of these bloggers, they're just stating their opinion, just like I'm stating my opinion. But what you should do is look at both sides and don't get mad and try to analyze, say, why are they thinking this way? And then you assess what you think the issue is, and you try to figure out, well, as a developer, how can I solve this problem? And the way we can solve this problem is continue building apps, UWP, using UWP framework to build apps to distribute through the Microsoft Store. So, all right, I'm out. I'm going to do some coding. I'm going to watch some sessions. I'm going to watch Google I/O. I'll talk about that next week. I might talk about Build more after I watch more sessions, because I'm sure there might be a lot more to talk about. But that's it for this episode. Stay wired in. Happy coding, and I'm out.